Picture this. It is a Saturday afternoon. You are standing in a furniture store. The lighting is slightly too bright, there is smooth jazz playing somewhere in the ceiling, and you are staring at a sectional sofa that you are absolutely convinced is going to fix your life. You know the exact feeling. You're looking at this couch and you're thinking, if I buy this, I will suddenly become the kind of person who wakes up early on Sunday mornings, brews pour-over coffee, and reads thick hardcover books, instead of the person who currently scrolls on their phone in sweatpants. It's a beautiful piece of furniture. It is also $2,400. You don't really want to drop almost $2,500 today. You have the money, or at least most of it, but it feels heavy. It feels like a massive hit to the checking account. And right as you are about to walk away, the salesperson approaches. They don't offer you a discount. They offer you something that feels infinitely better. They offer you time. We have a promotion running today, they tell you, smiling. 0% interest for 12 months. It sounds like magic. It sounds like free money. You divide 2,400 by 12 in your head. $200 a month. You can easily do $200 a month. You sign the iPad, you schedule the delivery, and you walk out of the store feeling like a financial genius. You just hacked the system. Welcome to the FinanceOffer podcast, where we break down how money decisions really work so you can spot the fine print, think clearly, and make smarter financial moves. I'm so glad you're here today because we need to talk about what actually happens 12 months and 1 day after you buy that couch. We are talking about the trap of deferred interest promotions. The retail credit card feature that is legally allowed to sit quietly in the corner of your living room, holding a financial baseball bat, just waiting for you to make a $50 mistake. There is a fundamental difference between what our brains hear when a salesperson talks and what the fine print actually says. Our brains hear, free money for a year, but the contract does not say 0% APR. If you read the signage very carefully, usually printed in a font size better suited for an eye exam, it says, no interest if paid in full within 12 months. That word, if, is doing the heaviest lifting in the English language. It is not a guarantee. It is a conditional promise. And that condition is an absolute, unforgiving cliff. To understand why this is so dangerous, you have to understand the difference between a true 0% credit card and a deferred interest store card. Let's say you get a regular credit card from a major bank that offers 0% APR for a year. That means the interest rate on that card is literally zero. If you buy a $2,000 laptop and after a year you still owe $50, what happens? The promotional period ends. The interest rate jumps up to, say, 24%, and the bank starts charging you 24% interest on that remaining $50 from that day forward. It's annoying, but it's mathematically harmless. It'll cost you a couple of extra bucks. That is not how your furniture store card works. That is not how your big box hardware store card works. When you signed that iPad for the couch, the interest rate was never zero. The interest rate was probably 29.99%. It was just wearing an invisibility cloak. Here is what is happening behind the scenes. Every single month that you are enjoying your new couch, the bank issuing that store card is doing some very quiet math. They are taking that astronomical 30% interest rate, calculating exactly how much interest you would owe for that month, and putting it into a separate, invisible ledger. I call it the shadow bill. Month 1, you make your payment. The shadow bill grows by $60. Month 2, you make your payment. The shadow bill grows by another $55. You can't see this bill. It doesn't show up on your monthly statement. It is sitting in a vault on a server somewhere, just waiting. If you pay off every single penny of that $2,400 couch before the clock strikes midnight on the final day of the 12th month, the bank deletes the shadow bill. The ledger is wiped clean. You won. But what if life happens? Let's play out the most common scenario. You start off strong. You pay your $200 the first month. You pay it the second month. But by month 7, your car needs new brakes. By month 9, the dog eats something weird and you have a vet bill. So for a few months, you dial back your couch payments. You don't stop paying, but you pay a little less. You get to the end of month 11. You've been mostly responsible. You have chipped away at this debt all year. Out of the original $2,400, there is exactly $60 left on the balance. The promotional period ends next Tuesday. You look at your budget. Things are a little tight this week. You think to yourself, you know what? I'm doing fine. I'll just let that $60 roll over. They'll charge me normal interest on $60. What is that, like $2? I'll pay $62 next month. I can live with that. So you leave the $60 balance. Tuesday passes, the promotion expires. 2 weeks later, your new statement arrives in your inbox. You open the PDF expecting to see a bill for $62. The balance is not $62. The balance is $540. You blink. You squint at the screen. You refresh the app, assuming the server is glitching. You check your recent transactions to see if someone stole your identity and went on a shopping spree. But no, there are no new charges. How did a $60 balance instantly morph into $540 of debt? Because you crossed the 12-month finish line without paying it off in full. And because you missed that condition, the bank went into the vault, pulled out the shadow bill, and stapled it to your actual account. They do not charge you interest on the $60 you have left. They retroactively charge you interest on the full original balance from the exact day you bought the couch, going back through the entire year. You are being charged interest on money you have already paid back. You paid off $2,340 of that couch. The bank acknowledged receipt of that money, and then they charged you interest on it anyway, because of a technicality in the timeline. If you call customer service to complain, and people do, thousands of them every single day, you will get a representative who speaks in the calm, detached voice of someone who has delivered this exact bad news 4 dozen times since their lunch break. They will gently inform you that there is no error. You agreed to the terms. The interest was deferred, not waived. You left a balance, so the deferment ended. Have a nice day. You might be wondering, how is this legal? How is it allowed to be designed this way? It's allowed because it is wildly, obscenely profitable. These financing deals are not a courtesy. Retailers do not partner with massive financial institutions out of the goodness of their hearts to help you decorate your den. They do it because they are making a highly optimized statistical bet against human nature. And spoiler alert, the banks are really good at math. They know that human beings are optimistic about the future. When you buy the couch, you assume the next 12 months of your life will be financially flawless. The bank knows that over a 12-month timeline, life gets messy. But they don't just wait for you to mess up. They actively encourage it. And they do it through the most insidious tool in personal finance, the minimum payment. When you get your statement every month, there is a big, bold box that says, minimum payment due. Let's say it says $35. Here is the darkest joke in retail finance. If you are a perfect, compliant customer and you pay exactly the minimum payment they ask for, on time, every single month, you are mathematically guaranteed to fail the promotion. The minimum payment is not calculated to pay off your balance within the 12-month window. It is calculated as a tiny percentage of your overall balance, designed specifically to ensure that when month 12 arrives, you still owe a chunk of money. They are handing you a map, telling you it leads to safety, and knowing full well it directs you straight off a cliff. And when you hit the bottom, they charge you for the rocks. You're doing everything the statement tells you to do, and somehow the math still looks offended. And it gets even more complicated if you actually try to use the store card for anything else. Let's say 6 months after you buy the couch, you go back to the same store. You buy a nice floor lamp for $200. You put it on the same store credit card. But the lamp isn't on a promotion. The lamp is just a regular purchase, accruing normal daily interest at 30%. Now you have 2 balances on one card. You have the couch, which is on a ticking 0% timer. And you have the lamp, which is charging you interest right now. You decide to be smart. You send in an extra payment of $300 thinking, I'll wipe out the lamp and then put the rest toward the couch. But the credit card company gets to decide how your payment is applied. And by default, financial regulations allow them to apply anything above the minimum payment to the balance with the highest current interest rate. Which sounds helpful, right? Except remember, the couch technically has a 0% rate right now. The lamp is at 30, so your money goes to the lamp. The couch balance, the one with the massive shadow bill silently growing in the background, just sits there. You think you are making progress on the promotion. You aren't. You are just rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. The clock is still ticking. The entire system is a labyrinth designed by people who know exactly how your brain works, and they are using your own financial habits against you. So, how do you beat them at their own game? How do you take the free financing without stepping on the landmine? You have to reframe how you look at these offers. You have to stop looking at the promotion as a friendly 12-month grace period and start looking at it like a bomb you have to defuse. And you don't defuse a bomb at the last possible second unless you are in a Hollywood action movie. In real life, you cut the wire early and go home. If you are going to use deferred interest, and you can if you are disciplined, you need to follow 3 unbreakable rules. Rule number 1, the rule of -2. When you buy an item on a promotional financing deal, do not divide the total by the number of months they give you. If they give you 12 months to pay it off, pretend they gave you 10. If you buy a $2,000 item, do not pay $166 a month. Pay $200 a month. You want to be completely finished with this debt 60 days before the deadline. Why? Because banks are bureaucratic nightmares. Sometimes a payment takes 3 days to clear. Sometimes the billing cycle ends on a Sunday, a holiday pushes the posting date to a Tuesday, and suddenly your final payment registers 1 day after the promotion expires. Do not give them the opportunity to use calendar math against you. Build a firewall. Finish early. Rule number 2, blindfold yourself to the minimum payment. Never, ever look at the minimum payment box on a retail store card. It is a trap. It is a lie told in numbers. Once you calculate your rule of -2 payment, go into your bank portal and set up an automatic recurring transfer for that exact amount. Do not rely on your own memory to log in and pay it every month. Automate the discipline. Treat it like a fixed utility bill that you cannot negotiate. Rule number 3, quarantine the card. Never put a non-promotional purchase on a card that is carrying a deferred interest balance. Keep the waters clean. If you buy the couch on the promo, the card goes into a drawer. Do not buy a lamp on it. Do not buy a rug on it. Do not buy a throw pillow on it. If you need a throw pillow, use a different card or use cash. The store card now has one job and one job only. It holds the promotional balance in isolation until you have hunted it down and destroyed it. Do not give the bank the chance to play games with payment allocation. Money isn't just math. If it were just math, nobody would ever be in debt. Money is psychology. It is emotion. It is the friction between what we want right now and what we can actually afford. The financial industry knows this better than anyone on earth. They use the promise of free money to lower your guard, and they use the complexity of the fine print to quietly empty your wallet. They know exactly how to make you feel like you are winning, right up until the moment they inform you that you've lost. You don't have to avoid these 0% deals entirely. Free leverage is great if you know how to wield it, but you cannot approach it casually. You have to understand the rules of the game you are actually playing. They are playing a high-stakes game of chess, and they are hoping you think it's just checkers. You thought you were just buying a couch, but now you know what is actually happening in the shadows. Pay it off early. Automate the payments. Don't let them hit you with the shadow bill. If you found this breakdown helpful and want to continue learning how the financial system really works, please hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and leave a comment below with a financial topic you want us to cover next. Thanks for listening to Finance Offer, and we'll see you in the next episode.